Well, good afternoon. Thanks everybody for being here. You know, it was exactly 2 years ago today that Lieutenant Governor Malat and I are on the ballot, and the election was decided in our favor. And so here we are 2 years later, a different kind of an announcement. As you've seen in the press announcement, I've been diagnosed with prostate cancer. It's certainly treatable. It was found not as a result of any particular symptoms, just regular testing, and which I certainly encourage others to do. I actually, when I was diagnosed, it was actually 2 weeks ago today, coming back in from AFN before I turned around and went back to AFN. I really gave some thought about how, this is kind of a private matter, about how public I was going to be. I reached out a bit to, certainly to my family, to Governor Tom Wolf in Pennsylvania, who was diagnosed with prostate cancer in February of this year, and was very public about it. Governor Hogan in Maryland has had a neuroblastoma kind of cancer. He was very public about it, and there's really no reason not to be public about it. In fact, the good part about being public about it is I want to encourage Alaskans to be tested regularly, get regular testing, so you can find out at an early stage if there's something happening and can treat it. Surgery will take place in mid-December, and I'm following my doctor's direction on that as far as specifics of that, a specific surgeon, etc. So really, it's takes a while to absorb. I join a group of Alaskans that have cancer, and I look forward to joining a group of Alaskans that have survived cancer. And I know that there are many Alaskans that are going through cancer in many different forms, and our hearts and prayers are with them, and we will get through this as well. I expect that the surgery would be 3 hours. It won't be the next day. I could return to. Some say I could return to work. Some say I shouldn't return to work the next day. I probably won't. But certainly it'll be a few days for sure, up to a week for my post-op appointments, and then I'm back at it. So anyway, that's sort of the facts as they were, and I just want an opportunity to really the message I wanted to convey is that a couple of things. Certainly, one of the big messages that Alaskans need to continue to be tested. That's really the critical message. And I don't know if Ms. Donna, you wanted to say anything. If there are any questions from the media on this. Nat, go ahead.
KTVA. You said you spoke to some other governors who have had similar diagnoses. What sort of advice did they give you?
Well, that's why I talked to them. That's a good question. I knew them through various governor associations, and the advice they gave me was, if you don't come out and talk about it, it'll grow into something that it's not. And in other words, as far as in the rumor mill, so to speak. So they said that was clearly from Governor Wolf in Pennsylvania. Said just own it, and he said and the good thing is that you can help other people by people that have not been tested that should be in the normal testing procedure. So that was one of the advices. The biggest advice to me was that it's something that when you hear something like that, your initial instinct is to sort of to keep it private. But this was as the governor of the state, Alaskans need to know what's going on. So, Nat.
Matt Harris with Alaska Dispatch News. Do you know where you'll have surgery, and do you expect that the lieutenant governor will kind of have to be like the acting governor for a few days?
Well, the surgery will take place at where my doctor has suggested, and with a particular surgeon, and that's kind of where I'm going to go on. Well, I'm going to go on that. I did talk with the Attorney General about the sort of what happens during my 3-hour period of surgery, and our Constitution is set up that if something arises that needs to be taken care of, The lieutenant governor has all the authority to do that, and so our constitution, each state is a little bit different, and so if during that 3-hour period something comes up, and sometimes things do come up, he would have all the authority even without anything. So if they couldn't reach me,
So he'll still be the lieutenant governor, he'll just have authority if he needs it?
right? Yeah.
Will you be staying here in Alaska, Governor?
Pardon?
Will you be treated here in Alaska, Governor?
Will I be seen here in Alaska?
Treated in Alaska.
Treated,
I'm being treated now in Alaska, and Andrew.
Was the course of treatment clear-cut from your doctor's perspective, or did it require any difficult decisions on your part about what the treatment would be?
Well, I mean, there's a series of treatments, and I don't plan to go into any of them, because I will probably get that not quite exactly right, and I don't want to be some sort of a medical expert on this issue. But I looked at my doctor here in Anchorage, provided me the different options and the pros and cons of each of the options, and I've chosen to go with with surgery. It's a one-time, and I want to be done with this as soon as possible.
But I'm not sure, I have a little difficulty hearing that question, but his doctor here in Anchorage has recommended for his personal privacy reasons, even though the doctor here could perform the surgery, has recommended another surgeon for him who is not in Alaska, and is the surgeon this particular doctor here in Anchorage would go to if he had the similar issue, so.
You want to go to the phones?
Yes, operator, can you please have the journalist identify what organizations they're with, please?
There are no questions at this time.
Okay, thank you.
Nat?
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling fine. I'm feeling, it was not a symptom as a result that caused me to be tested. It was just time to be tested. So I'm feeling fine. I've got a full plate of things to do, and so I'm no lack of things to do. So I feel fine.
May I elaborate on that, too? For those of you who know my husband, who have worked with him at all, this is not just since he's been governor, but for his entire life. The man's normal work day is about 11 to 12 hours. Even when he comes home from the office, there's usually another hour or two. And this is why we are encouraging everyone to follow through with the regular checkups, because there was not a single symptom. He has not, honestly, the man has had one sick day that I can recall, and that's when he broke an arm and a leg jumping down our son's skateboard. And it happened over a weekend, but he did, I think, miss the first half of Monday the next week. So we're grateful. He's extremely healthy, and we have every confidence for a complete and full recovery. And one of my questions to the doctor was, long-term medication after this, and he just said, maybe a light pain medicine for a couple of days, that once the surgery is done, it's done, and hopefully will eliminate a worry that most men have of, so many do get prostate cancer in their lifetime, so. And let me say one more thing. His brother Bob is here, not because of this. His brother Bob is here because these guys are working construction all weekend. I mean, they're building, so it's just, it's a difficult diagnosis, but we are very fortunate with the options at this point, so.
I just wanted to ask one quick follow-up, because what was, can you say what it just was like to be diagnosed and what your reaction was, like, kind of on the spot?
When I got the diagnosis, I think everybody remembers well where they were when they get the diagnosis of cancer, but it's just prostate cancer, and it's very treatable. So, I was, when you're going in and being tested, and you're waiting for the results from the test, you tend to do a little bit of research. Google provides us to be armchair physicians for a moment or two if we choose to, and so I certainly had looked into that, and knew that if it was in fact positive for prostate cancer, that it was very treatable. Again, I was certainly familiar with Governor Wolf's situation and others. Many Alaskans have survived this. Many that I know I've heard from many already. So that's encouraging to me. So it certainly wasn't a devastating blow. It's an adjustment. There's no question about that. But I think this day and age of where we are in cancer treatments gave me a lot of encouragement. Yeah.
Okay. Mark, any
Mark,
questions?
Associated Press, just real quick, what's the construction project this weekend?
Well, there's always construction projects going on in my life, and we have
Personal
building project my brother's going to help me with. And let me just clarify, I didn't trip over the skateboard. I actually tried to ride it down a hill to our house. It didn't end well, I'll just put it that way. And I did end up with a broken ankle and a broken wrist. And I did get on an airplane the next day and went to a city council meeting in Valdez. So there was no day off for that. So thank you all very much for being here. Thank you.